Imagine being a quarterback who spent more time in nightclubs than in the film room. Someone like that would be cut from any team immediately, right? Well, not if you're Joe Namath. Despite his party lifestyle, Broadway Joe destroyed defenses while barely being able to walk. So, how exactly did this trash-talking pretty boy change the NFL forever? Well, Joe Namath had humble beginnings. His parents were Hungarian immigrants, and the family lived in a rough working-class town.
It was a very blue-collar, hard-working area. We had the steel mills and the coal mines. Most of the people were workers, and to pay your way through college was a strain for a lot of folks.
Football became a pathway to escape financial struggle. But Namath wasn't just good at football. He was selected first overall by the Jets in 1965. But not in the NFL draft, no. You see, back in the day, there were two leagues, the NFL and the AFL. These two leagues were fighting each other tooth and nail. So, when a top prospect in Namath chose the AFL, this was a huge signing, and it put the AFL on the map. Namath was pumped to make his mark in pro football. But what he didn't know was that it was time to buckle up, because this college kid became the highest paid rookie in history. And you better believe that painted a big old target on his back.
The veterans, the real veterans, really hated him.
You know, these people here, your future coach and the owner, Mr. Werblin, have referred to you as the greatest football player in college this year. You haven't even put on a Jet uniform yet. You already feel a little bit of pressure?
Well, pressure just makes you go a little more. I kind of like pressure a little bit.
But Namath didn't crumble under the pressure. Instead, he settled into a groove in his rookie season, throwing for over 2,000 yards. This kid could throw the hell out of a football. And his promising start left little to debate as he was named Rookie of the Year.
He had the best-looking drop and the best-looking release and the best-looking pass that I've ever seen.
But Namath's confidence didn't always pay off. You see, in 1966, he led the entire league in passing yards with 3,379. But that wasn't the only stat line he topped. Namath also threw a whopping 27 interceptions. Because that was who Broadway Joe was. He wasn't afraid to take chances downfield, even if it meant turning it over. But was this play style the right one? At the time, the Jets were still nowhere near where they wanted to be in terms of playoff contention. The burning question was, could Joe Namath really get them over the hump? 1967 was a golden opportunity for Broadway Joe to will his team to victory. And Namath grasped this opportunity with both hands. He took his game to historic heights, throwing for an insane 4,000 yards in just 14 games. Nobody had ever done that before. And back then, the league was just different. Quarterbacks didn't have any protection like they do now, and back then, the game was built on running the ball instead. Broadway Joe put the world on notice. He made defenses respect the pass and forced teams to adjust. Namath was hugely important in moving the game on. But it wasn't just in-game where he arrived. It wasn't just the Jets quarterback. He was the face of the AFL. Young people loved him. Old school guys hated him. But one thing was clear. Everybody knew who he was. He was like a rock star who just happened to play quarterback. The questions now surrounded whether he could win the big one. You see, back then, the Super Bowl wasn't like it is now. It was AFL versus the NFL. And at first, the NFL kept kicking the AFL's butt. Everybody thought the AFL was just a second-rate league. The pressure was mounting on players in the AFL, and many wondered if the Jets quarterback was letting his lifestyle get in the way of what mattered most. But here's what the haters didn't know about Namath. He never let his lifestyle get in the way of his performances on the field.
I mean, there's this image of Joe Namath being this guy who stayed out all night and just walked on the field and played. Every day at our practices, the last three people off the field were Namath, Sauer, and Maynard.
That elusive second Super Bowl had him hungrier than ever in 1968, and Joe Namath meant business. He threw much fewer interceptions throughout the seasons, leading the Jets to an impressive 11-3 record. This secured the top spot in the AFL East, setting up a battle against the Raiders, winners of the AFL West. Oakland was tough as nails, but Joe went out there and just carved him up. He threw for 266 yards and 2 touchdowns, booking a spot in his first ever Super Bowl.
Absolutely. It's quick. 4 years.
You think it's...
Took a long time coming. 4 years. You want to win every year. First year.
But once again, nobody thought it would ever be possible for an AFL team to win the big one. In fact, 3 nights before Super Bowl III, Namath was heckled. And it was here where Broadway Joe made a bold claim that could have come back to haunt him.
Hey, Namath, we're gonna kick your... You know what? I said, whoa, wait a minute. I said, I got news for you. We're gonna win the game, I guarantee.
And he had nothing to lose when he shot his mouth off and said, hey, we're number 1, we're gonna beat them.
We felt confident, pretty darn confident, that we were gonna win the game.
Nobody had ever done that before. Bookmakers, pundits, everyone thought the Jets didn't stand a chance. They were the biggest underdogs in Super really strong team at the time. But Broadway Joe's guarantee made this match even more high stakes.
Namath's guarantee made the Super Bowl theater for the masses. A game that couldn't sell out 2 years earlier suddenly was the hottest ticket in sports.
He said that he was going to guarantee a win. So, our players, I was hoping that they would certainly use that to help them if there was any complacency or overconfidence on our part, that would certainly, tear that apart.
But when that game arrived, boy was Namath right. The entire team played like they had something to prove.
Namath back, the Jets leading now 13-0. He's going to go deep, and it is down to Sauer. He's got it.
Namath managed the game perfectly and didn't turn the ball over once. Final score, Jets 16, Colts 7.
The New York Jets are the world champions in a stunning upset. They have beaten the Colts handily here today.
Joe Namath was a Super Bowl champion. But you know the crazy part? That win wasn't just about him or the Jets. It was bigger than that, because this game ultimately became the catalyst for the merger.
Pro football status as the nation's most popular sport and the incredible drawing power of the Super Bowl stem, in many ways, from the extraordinary events of January 12, 1969.
Without Namath and that upset, the NFL might have kept treating the AFL like a minor league. Broadway Joe helped change the structure of pro football forever. Now look, Joe Namath, he talked boldly, played boldly, and left a mark on the game that 99% of fans don't know about. And let's be honest, his guarantee is probably the most badass thing ever done by a pro athlete in America. Forever Broadway Joe.